Well, well, well. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday morning. I kind of have a good slot here on Fridays. It's sort of end of the week. Everyone's made tons of money. They're looking forward to the weekend. Everybody's working for the weekend. You know what I'm talking about. You guys remember that song? You got to be an 80s fan, an 80s baby. I wish I was an 80s baby. I'm a 70s baby. Okay. So let me see. I want to see your beautiful faces, or at least your comments. At least your beautiful comments, especially how much you love my singing and that you want to hear more of it. Surf Dancing Hogan is a war baby. It's a war baby, like my mom. My mom was born right in the thick of it. I'm lucky to be here. Do you ever think about that? Good morning, Shane and Alan Johns. Everyone, good morning. Do you ever think about that? I don't know. I'm probably just like a weirdo or something, but I mention that to my kids sometimes. I'm like, do you have any idea how lucky we are to be here? Like, my mom grew up in an invasion, was born in literally an invasion in Europe. And then when you look, tell my kids, I go back. Like, all it took was for one of our ancestors to make one wrong turn, one wrong step into a road, get hit by a horse. And we're not here. I said, do you know how lucky you are? You better be appreciative of every single day. Anything could have gone wrong over the last thousands and thousands of years. Just one little thing could have gone wrong and you wouldn't be here. So, let's all be very grateful that we're here. We already won the lottery. Exactly, Matt, man. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. So let us take a look at markets this morning. Oh, don't make me do this. Don't make me do this login stuff. I don't remember my logins. Anyway, okay, let's start with this. Hello, I am Hans Albrecht. I am Director of Income Trading at Option Pit. But income means many things. And in fact, Hannah and I are going to be doing something next week that is going to talk about how it's very near and dear to my heart. And it's a concept called greed. You guys know greed? Sometimes greed can get you into trouble. I know. They drive me insane, Jose. Like, I just, somebody needs to figure that out. How to make me remember the login that I just set like 20 minutes ago. I'm not saying logins are difficult. I'm saying my mind doesn't like remembering logins. I know, you can write it down, right? Good old pen and paper, right? Zuckerberg does not want you to use pen and paper, but I think you can still do it. Any of you who can still write, you know what I mean? Some people can still write with a pen and paper. Surf Dancing Hogan, 50s baby, he knows how to actually write. And I think writing is going to come back when the internet goes down for a month because of some cyber attack. Those who can write are going to be in the driver's seat. They are going to be in the driver's seat. So anyway, Hans, 15 years as a pro market maker, but only getting a check if I made money, right? So somebody was talking about how, I was having an argument with somebody and they're like macro and they're bearish and this and that. And I'm always and I'm often bullish because of flows and things like that. And I said, well, these are different worlds, right? I come from a world where if I didn't make money, I didn't get a check for 15 years. Right? That's a very different world from having an opinion on markets, basing your P&L on opinion because opinions sell newsletters or whatever. My P&L was based on actually making money, right? So there's different things. And that's why there's this old saying that bears sound smart, bulls make money. I love that saying. Bears sound smart and bulls make money. And so, that's not always true. I did make a boatload in bear markets. So that's not always true. But as an investor, that's probably true over time. But the focus is making money, right? And I think we're going into 5 years of a crazy market where if you're not trading with Option Pit, if you're not learning to trade, if you're not learning to do this better and better all the time, exercising those muscles, you're going to be missing out on something special. So that's some of the stuff that we do in Turbo Income. We have, of course, we have all kinds of things that we do here. But Turbo Income is not only about finding those great income trades, but it's about strategic greed. We're going back to that concept of greed. So that's what I'm seeing, some very, very interesting things out there. Let me show you guys. We are seeing S&P skew, meaning upside call skew, picking up a little bit, right? So what we saw for a long time there was kind of people not really excited about upside, and that made the upside really cheap. And that's what if you've been watching my shows for the last 6 weeks, I've been like, pain points up, broken record. I'm sure you're tired of hearing it. AI, pain points up. And so here we are, we've run up. Now we're seeing the calls kind of get a little juicier. So I think it's finally become, and if any of you have listened to my tirades in the past, I ran $700 million in covered call funds and option overlay type funds, income funds. And I tell people, look, I don't really like doing those income overlays until I'm given some real edge, right? So I haven't been doing any cover calls until the last couple of days, because now I see the market being a little bit toppy for now. I think it takes off later, a little bit toppy. And now I'm getting a little bit of extra call edge because all the people who missed this run are like, well, I better grab some upside. I missed it. Grab an upside. Shorts are like, oh, better buy some calls to hedge out my stupid short position. Sorry if anybody's a short, but my short position that is not working out. I'm not saying stupid. Wink, wink. So what's going on here? Accept all cookies. Don't you love how they say accept all cookies, or, you know, click here and you can choose which ones you want and this and that. Yeah, I'm sure everybody goes, oh yeah, I'm going to go in and spend the next 5 minutes figuring out what cookies. Everyone goes accept cookies, full cookies. I'd say that's borderline illegal. That should be illegal, forcing people to do something out of inconvenience. But again, Zuckerberg is going to argue against that. So what we've got here is an interesting sort of backdrop where we are just getting a little bit sort of toppy in the market, and you know, tariff Taco Trump is intent. Calling him Taco was probably the worst thing you could do, although markets have done okay, because he's going to want to prove otherwise, right? So if I go to Trading View, let me go to Trading. Oh, is this Trading View here? Let me go to Trading View. Yeah. So if we look at the SPY, we can see that we're just kind of sort of playing around at this level here. We had that nice breakout, very nice breakout, melt up. And, you know, people are starting to get back in a little bit. But the backdrop is actually still quite positive. And so I want to show you this sort of this interesting kind of dynamic. You guys know I like to talk about flows. I like to talk about people who are not in this market enough, who aren't in yet, and who need to continue to allocate. So we have a market where there's sort of this constant bid, right? That's why we've had this just sort of nonstop up market for a while. People haven't been in, they've been buying back in. They've been reallocating, especially on the institutional side, on the hedge fund side. Hedge funds were just way out for a while. They were not in this market. And so everyone's kind of continued to allocate. But there are these systemic funds, or these systematic funds that get in there. And when volatility is low, they just keep buying. So right now, those funds are buying when the market's not doing anything. They're buying when the market goes down a bit. And they're buying when the market goes up a bit. So are you seeing a trend there? Anybody catching on to the trend? Yeah, they're buying. They're buying. That's the world we live in now, where derivatives and sort of systematic strategies are kind of in the driver's seat, right? And it doesn't mean you can't go the other way. It can go the other way too. If volatility picks up, they're going to start selling the heck out of things. But for now, it's you can almost think of this new world as a kind of volatility clustering world. And what I mean by that is either all heck is breaking loose or there's nothing to worry about, right? Either it's April and they just blast through, support levels like it's going out of tomorrow, it's going out of style, or they just, pick up a positive narrative or even a neutral narrative again, and they just kind of steadily march up over time. I think we're like almost at the record for number of days, under a number of days up in a row for the S&P, something crazy like that I read yesterday. So we've been very, very, very quiet in terms of not getting that up and down volatility anymore. And what I want to show you, we're going to talk about MSTX and MSTR and some of those fun things today, because even though the market's not doing great, you may have noticed that Palantir is doing okay. I love Palantir. Costco, Netflix is under pressure a little bit lately, eh? There's a little bit of pressure. I think that's going to be an interesting buy again soon. Oh, it got down to 1237. I think I've got a little alert set at 1211. Make sure you set your alerts, guys. That's the best way to keep track of a lot of different things. And also it keeps you out of trouble a little bit, because you don't get in too early. You wait and you got the alert right where you want to get the alert, where it doesn't, you're not tempted to kind of get in a little bit earlier. So anyway, we're just going to go to right to MSTR, because I don't even want to talk about flows today. What I'm going to show you is what I've been looking at. And so in Turbo Income, we've been getting into IBIT trades, MSTX trades. Does that sound like income to you? No, it's strategic greed. When I start to see things do things that lead me to want to be greedy, strategically greedy, smart greedy, right? No guarantees. But when things start to line up really, really well, I start to get a little bit excited. Now, let me show you the chart that really keeps me interested in the AI trade. And here we are. Okay. So this is, I played this like a Stradivarius. I think we're kind of, we can see that this is a relationship of ARKK, which is the Cathie Wood fast money, kind of a little more speculative, although it's higher quality than people think. But in any case, when this chart is going down, it means ARKK type stocks are out of favor versus XLK, which is big cap, Microsoft, Nvidia, big cap, right? Steady balance sheet strength, earnings strength, frickin' most of the earnings in the S&P in those stocks, versus speculative, faster money, excitement, loosen the purse strings kind of money. Let's go for it, YOLO type money, right? So when this chart is going up, it means the fast money is outperforming the big cap. That doesn't mean big cap's going down. It just means the fast money is doing better, right? And I believe this is going to be a world where both can do well. And so what I said down here is I said, I think we can get up to this red line. There wasn't a red line at the time, I don't think, but I said these four tops here, 1, 2, 3. I said, this is going to be the spot, that triple top, and boom, we get to that line, which we did. Then I said, chance we could kind of relax a little bit. But when we pull back to a certain point, I said, probably watch for these. This is the middle of the Bollinger Band. So we kind of almost got there. And I said, watch for this to recycle up. I said, it's not an if it happens, it's a when it happens. And here we are again with the silly money starting to push. And that's very interesting to me. And it's also bad news for shorts. Now, let me show you. Let me show you IBIT. This is what I've been looking at because I'm greedy and I like to. We just put these positions on. Why? Well, look, this is what I was waiting for. I knew vol was cheap, but buying cheap vol isn't buying it because it's cheap isn't the main reason, you know, it might be part of the reason you get into something. Cheap options. When I say vol, I just mean options. And we see this consolidation. This tends to be what happens, right? Bitcoin's been consolidating since way back here around 100 grand. Now it's starting to break out, and here's your IBIT. That's your, look at this pop here today. So we put these positions on, and we're up large on them already in a few days. And I think it's one to watch. I mean, I think, you know, I think the first big move probably can get a little backfill. And I think that's very interesting. Now, another thing we looked at was the MTI. So look at the nice MTIs we've got here. Green, 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 green. When was the last time we did one of those? Okay, here's a period here. Super, super green right before a massive run. A little bit more here. We kind of went a little more sideways. Blood red in here. Stay the heck out of Dodge. And then here, it's kind of telling you're going from blood red to yellow to green, getting you a little bit excited again. In here, I tend to be a little bit more incomey, right? Doing a little bit more of the income type trade that favors that more yellow environment. But now, when I combine this breakout, oh, you did, eh, Matt? Nice. Yeah. I mean, these sell-offs don't last long, do they? What are we doing now? Yeah. I mean, I don't see a big reason to sell off. I'm kind of hoping we sell off to about 600 on the SPY, but I'm not sure it's going to happen. It probably could, because the summer months can get a little bit less liquid and just nobody's home, right? All the juniors are on the desks, and sometimes it doesn't take much. Yeah, then we start doing the credit spreads, right, Jose? We start doing credit spreads. We start to do things that are a little bit more incomey. But when the market wants to do the work for you, right? Sometimes markets do things where you kind of have to help your portfolio, right? You help your portfolio by doing things that add value. And sometimes when the market really just wants to go for it, that's when you can get strategically greedy. So these are not your typical, these are not typical income trades. These are trades that we've done that really, really take advantage of upside. And it doesn't have to be, you know, Bitcoin. It can be anything. I don't want to make $3 when I can make 20. It's as simple as that. It's really as simple as that. Sometimes I'll give up $3 looking for the 20, and maybe I only make 2 or 1. But that's why we're trying to find we're using the MTI, we're using these indicators, we're using this sort of insight that we're drawing from the market every day, right? Being a trader is kind of like playing poker. What does a good poker player do? They look around, they're reading the people, they're reading the their actions, they're reading, you know, somebody bets a certain amount, you know, on the turn at a certain point, that do something on the river. That's all information. You're gathering information. That's what you're doing in markets. You're looking around. Don't just do something for the sake of doing it. Keep gathering information to build your thesis that supports your willingness to go all in, or, you know, to go aggressive on something. So the market is like poker. We keep adding those levels of edge. So I like this. This is good looking, right? I mean, can we pull back and close this gap? It's possible. It's possible, but let me show you why part of the reason why I thought this was an interesting trade. Because when we look, I looked at this and I said, boy, I'm looking at M2, you know, let me show you this. Where's that M2? Did I even find it anywhere? Let me go here. Let me go here and here and here and here. No, I don't have my little M2 chart. How disappointing. What about if I type in money supply? Why it matters now, money supply. No, I can't find my money supply chart. But it really, really looks cool, because it really shows you how, oh wait, did I find it? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, global money supply. So it tends to follow, Bitcoin tends to follow global money supply. So you can see it here. It runs up. I think this is on a little bit of a lag, but it runs up. And then as Bitcoin consolidates, the blue, you can see as M2 consolidates, the white, Bitcoin consolidates. Then M2 runs up again, a world awash in money, and then Bitcoin runs up again. And then here, just a little bit of not disconnect, but just we see a little bit of divergence, but right here, and we get this nice bottoming zone on M2. So this is what I'm looking at, but this doesn't tell me everything. When we start to make a move out of that environment, because we could do this and then break down, but now we're starting to confirm some things, right? So as I often tell members, I say, add on strength. Don't try to always pick the bottom in something. Add when the thesis is starting to gather momentum. That's a good time for me to add certain kinds of positions. So here we are with global M2, deficit, orgy. Like it doesn't matter. Like spending is back, hasn't gone anywhere, despite some of the, the hopes that we would get things under control. And here's Bitcoin breaking out. And so if I look at MSTR, let's look at some of these option prices. So I see MSTR just starting to poke up just a little. We had those cheap options down in here, but I don't want to buy them just because they're cheap. I want to see a little bit of stability. I want to see a move on the chart. I want to see my narrative starting to be confirmed by something that I'm seeing out there in option pricing. So look, we're starting to push up a little bit here. And if I look at, let's say I go to some longer term options, you can see they're not expensive. Look at these things. These are not pricing. This is part of my thesis. They're not pricing craziness. They're pricing things staying relatively tame, right? And that's one of the added benefits to a carefully placed upside trade in this or MSTX, which is high octane, right? MSTX is leverage on Bitcoin. So that's not for the faint of heart. But you want to layer your edge. What's going to happen if this thing explodes again? What's going to happen? We're going to win on delta on our long calls or long call spread, whatever you might have. You're going to win on delta. You're going to win on implied volatility going up, right? Implied volatility is going to come back, right? If this thing starts to go nuts again, look what happened last year. This even long-term options went bananas. Skew blew out like crazy. I showed it to you. Where did I show you? MSTR. So what does skew mean? Skew means how expensive are puts, out of the money puts versus out of the money calls. This is what can happen. Look at this. This is calls blowing out. Everyone just scrambling. Guess what? That was the top. So what I want to see is more excitement. Until I see this skew blowing out, which means people panicking to the upside, I think it's interesting. It could cycle back down a little bit, and I'm putting some stop losses in place. But if this plays out over time, the way I think it's going to, I think we're going to win on delta, which means direction. We're going to win on implied volatility going up. And I think we could win on upside skew exploding. The trifecta. Matt Mann wants Misty. Misty is the way to go, right? I like that. Misty just kind of has a nice name. It's like like someone's name. I'm with Misty. Who are you with? Bernie Madoff? Oh, I'm with Misty. ULTY. Yield max. Yeah, the only problem with some of those products is they're cover call products, right? So they basically own MSTR and they have WNA. I don't even know what that means. Yeah, I like all those edges, Nina. That's what gets me a little bit excited. I see more layers of edge, right? It doesn't mean they're going to play out. There are no guarantees, but there is some nice potential. So I got into calls in MSTX at 540, and I think I could lose half that if I stop out. I think those could potentially be a 6-10 bagger, potentially. Am I going to wait that long? I don't know. Maybe if I go into a coma for while it's happening, but I'm going to do my best to stay in that trade or roll it up or do things that keeps me in the game. Oh, thanks, Leisha. At least you do. At least one person thinks I'm funny, and me. That's two people, and not my wife. So that's still two people. So and not my kids. Okay, it's still two people. Whew. I'm on fire. Okay, so what kind of thanks, Shane. You know what? If I don't entertain myself, I can't do this. I can't be too serious about this stuff. It's just I think there's fun to be had, which is why you guys should not play Misty for me. That sounds like some of the videos my dad used to have in the back of his closet, but I don't know. Oh, I wonder if those videos are still there. I never watched them though. Wink. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We are off track, like perhaps I've never been off track before. Okay, so what I want to show, so we have this interesting edge here in all these things, and what I want to leave you guys with is an idea. You're going to get way more of them in Turbo Income, but I want to leave you with an idea. I'm hoping they start adding some more just expiries to this, because DEES 25, it's good, right? I think it's in play, but I think the upside still is not bad. These are 8-10 bid now. I got into those at 540. I think we got into those at 540 in Turbo Income. So how many of those do you need to do to pay for your 3-year membership or 1-year membership 10 times over? Not too many. So, but you know what? I think on a backfill, I think you want to keep these on your radar, because remember, what is the 65 call? It is the skew. That's upside call skew, right? Yeah, exactly, Matt. If you've got the cojones to put that money in there, if you're Mark Cuban, you could put in $1 million, $2 million. It wouldn't blink. So I think this is interesting, right? Maybe we get a little backfill, because you often get that after the first sort of initial reaction. And then these start to look interesting again. What are they? They are delta. You're going to be long delta. They have Vega, which means implied volatility goes up. I just showed you a chart. It's never been lower. Barely ever been lower. So you get volatility potentially goes up. Number 3, Nina, in our trifecta is you are long skew. So these are out of the money. These could explode a little bit. And I'll tell you right now, if MSTX gets to 60, 70, 80, if it does that without implied volatility exploding, I will eat a jar of olives, and I despise olives. You heard it here first. If that happens without implied volatility exploding, I give up. I did not learn anything over the last 3 decades. Oh boy, I'm putting myself out there with the I'm putting myself out there. Yeah, with my recovery. Are you referring to last night? Yeah, I did not sleep much last night. But, there's nothing like a good big win to rejuvenate me, to bring me back to life. Okay, guys, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. Nicole can help you out. What's my login? Nicole, can you put Turbo Income in here, just in case anybody else wants to jump on and participate in our wonderful group? Thanks, Cool Hand Vic. Thanks, everyone. Hans is trading income, Turbo Income, and also strategic greed. We should be like Turbo Income, greedy guy service. Oh, you can call in. Don't we have a link, Drew? We got to have a link. Yeah, we do. Hold on. There it is. Do you want to get in on the greedy guy service? That doesn't have a great ring to it, but that might work for some people. Yeah, there we go. Okay, thanks, Mark Sebastian fan. I know who you are. Don't pretend you're incognito. Okay, I do love Misty, the one in my dad's videos in the back of the closet. Okay, everybody, have an awesome day, and we will see you next time.